Hello, I'm Julia Hankins, founder of Wellbeing Adventurers and also Julia Hankins Wellbeing. And welcome to the third video in the series all about core values in your business. And so in the first video, I talked about what core values are and why they're important, why they're useful. In the second video, I talked about how to create your own core values. And in this video, I'm going to be talking all about what to do if you're working with somebody and they don't align with your values. And so this can be really tricky sometimes because as small businesses, we probably want to work with everybody. And some of that will come from an inclusion point of view, is that I want to share what I know with everyone. And I just want to be useful and I want to share my knowledge. Some of it can also come from a logical, practical business point of view, as in, I need money and this is a job and they're paying me, so I should just take it. But it can be problematic when you're working alongside a setting or a person or a business or an organization that doesn't align with your core values, and that can happen. And so today I'm going to be talking a little bit more about what that might look like and some ideas for you to consider. So at my training this weekend, the Wellbeing Adventurers training, there was a conversation that went along the lines of, what do you do when you're in a workplace and the people are behaving in a way that doesn't feel good, and so not aligning with your values. And so this could be maybe a school or maybe a nursery setting or even a business if you deliver workshops to businesses, things like that. And it's tricky, isn't it? It's really, really hard because you want to be like, oh, don't say that, don't do that. So the first thing that I would say is ensure that your communication of what you expect and your expectations are really, really clear. And so one way that I do this is by sharing a letter. Well, it's not really a letter, it's like a laminated card, and it has frequently asked questions. And so when I'm working with a new setting, particularly in children's classes, I share with them, actually I do this with everyone, even when it's adult sessions, I share with them a frequently asked questions sheet. And it's what you can expect from the session, but also what I expect too. And I think that's really, really important because it sets clear boundaries for everyone about what's okay and what's not okay. And so whenever I'm working with a new person or group of people, I will share this with them. And so this can be either I'm emailing it to the person who is in charge ahead of the practice, or I'm taking it with me as a laminated card for the person who's actually within that session to say, you've never worked with me before, you might find this useful information. And so it's a combination of like simple questions like, what should I wear? How should I, what can I expect? What is this session about? What it's not about? But then there's also, how can I help? What do you expect of me kind of section. And so I find that this is really, really useful because if, for example, you're working in a setting like a school or a nursery and they're not acknowledging the boundaries that you are expecting, it could be because they don't know what those are already. So it could be that an adult is talking while you're delivering your session and you'd prefer them not to. It could be that an adult in the space is touching a child and moving them and trying to get them to do things, and you don't want them to do that. It could be that I don't know, like somebody talks over you or shouts and you don't want them to do that. It could be that the adult in question thinks that they're doing the right thing and is trying to be helpful. And so they're trying to get the children to perform. So it could just be a misunderstanding and a miscommunication. And in many cases, I do think it probably is that. I think it's that the adults have got your best interests at heart and they want the children to perform, and that's what they think they need to do. And so providing them with some sort of letter or form with frequently asked questions on it can be really helpful. If you would like my one of these, along with many, many useful other important letters and documents and things that I've created, then you can check out the document bundle, which is documents but also little videos about how to use them. And that's something that you can just go now and buy and have, and then you can edit it and change it to suit you, but you can see what sort of things I include. So communicating with the people that you're working with is really, really top priority. Make sure you shared that with them, because not everybody will have the same experiences and knowledge and understanding and expectations that you will have. They will have their own. So that's the first thing. The second thing to think about is I really, really love this idea of circle of concern and circle of influence. If you've ever read the book of Stephen Covey, it talks about how basically we can control some things which are like in the inner circle, but there's other things that we can't actually control. Not directly anyway. And so things that would be in the inner circle are things that you can control about yourself. So for example, you can communicate to people, you can control how you communicate with people, how you express your wishes, your desires, your values, your expectations, your boundaries. You can communicate that, you can control that. What you can't control is what people do with that information. So maybe they act on it, maybe they ignore it. You can control how you respond in a situation, but you can't control how other people respond in a situation. And you can control your choices that you make, but you can't control other people's choices that they make. And so it sounds really obvious, doesn't it? But I think this is really, really important to notice, because sometimes I think that what we do in the inner circle, this circle of concern, can ripple out into the wider community. So, and the wider people who we're coming into contact with. So it could be that the way that you communicate with the children, aligning with your values, is seen by somebody in the outer circle. And it does impact how they behave, because they're like, oh, actually, I never thought to communicate in that way. Or it could be that your communication, your letter that you provided, does impact that outer circle, because they're like, I never thought of it in that way before, but now you've said it, actually, yes, I can see why that's important. So it impacts, it ripples out. And so it's really, really important to remember that we can't control other people, but we can control ourselves. And so sometimes our values will ripple out, impacting other people because of the way that we've behaved. Sometimes they won't. And then that brings me to point number 3. So we can communicate, we can reframe what it is that we can and can't impact without, and we can change our own behaviour. Number 3, we can make a choice, and we can decide to walk away if we want to. So if repeatedly somebody in a setting or an organisation is not matching or aligning with your values, you can choose not to work for them. You can choose to take yourself away from that situation, and that is totally okay for you to do. So whether that is I don't know, whether that's a family who are coming to your family yoga sessions and they're ignoring all of your boundaries and expectations that you've put in place, you can actually say, these are my boundaries, these are my expectations, and you're repeatedly ignoring those. So please don't come to any future events that I have, or I won't be opening my future services up to you. And that sounds harsh and it sounds hard, and it's not something that I've really needed to do often, but I have decided not to continue working with either an individual, a group, or a business, or a school, or an organisation, because my beliefs and my values aren't met with those people, and I can no longer ignore whatever's going on. So that's maybe some food for thought for you. If there's something that, if you're watching this and there's a situation that's arising for you, have a little think about it. Have you communicated everything that you could have to the best of your ability, and maybe referred back to that as well? So it's not enough to just give them a letter once. Have you referred back to it, your expectations? Is it something that you can just hope will ripple out and will change? Is it something that you can live with? For example, a couple of the schools that I work in regularly have people walking through the hall while I'm teaching. And although that is not, it's not ideal, it's actually something I can live with and I can cope with. That's okay. So can you consider, what can you live with? What can you not live with? And if there is a difficult decision that needs to be made and you do need to stop working with somebody or a business for some reason, then just know that it's okay to do that. You are the owner of your own business. You are the person that gets to decide who you do and don't share your energy with. Okay, well, I hope you found that useful in some way. I would really love to hear your thoughts and your feedback about it. And don't forget, if you've got any questions that you'd like to ask me, email them to julia@juliahankins.co.uk, or comment on this video and I can maybe do a video for you in the future. Thanks for watching.